I'm gonna warn you right now, this run was not meant for mortal eyes. This is hell on earth, hell in the vortex, whatever. This is uh, a disgrace. This video is a disgrace. In this video, I can only use the shield as a weapon. I'm allowing myself to use trinkets because if not, this video would be 2 hours long, and most of the footage would be me standing in front of enemies trying to parry. Because if I could only use the shield, nothing else, all my damage would have to come from parrying. And some attacks, as you'll see in the video, some attacks are easier to parry than others, right? Because, like for example, these mushrooms and spiders, they have like physical, like they're attacking with their bodies, right? They're attacking with their mandibles or their swords. Later on, some enemies will attack with projectiles, or it's just the timing is weird. It's probably a skill issue on my part. Like this fart attack that the mushroom does, you can parry it. I've parried it before a while ago. It's just the timing is weird because I'm relying on typically I'm relying on like the visual and the sound cue, but it's a bit different in that attack and other attacks like it down the road, especially in stage 3, stage 4. So to make a long story short, for those of you who don't know, the shield was actually changed since I came back to Windblown. It used to be where you could block, just hold the shield button, you'd take an attack and it would negate all the damage. Then they changed it, and now if you block an attack, you'll take some damage. Some damage will bleed through. It's not as high as you would if you just normally took the attack, but it is to me, I don't like it because I get why this change was enacted. Motion Twin seems to want you to parry, right? They want you to get the timing down so you can do the big damage. And parrying is satisfying. I just don't think this is really feasible in like Cataclysmic or Tempestuous. You either got to become a god at parrying or you're going to mess up. Because the way I see it, you either try and parry, you miss the timing, so you get hit by the full damage. That's one option. Or two, you chicken out and you don't go for the parry and you just block the attack. You're going to take damage, right? Because it bleeds through. Or the third option is that you just get good and you parry everything. But like I said, some attacks are easier than parry than others. Like that fart attack the mushroom did where he spews out the goo is, for me, harder to parry than other attacks. Like when he uses the sword, because I can watch the sword. I hear the sound cue, very distinctly. Like that red glare kind of looks like anime eyes for a second when enemies are about to attack. It has like that anime glare. You notice it a lot more with the when you're using the shield because you're relying on that to parry. So I could go on and on. I could give a whole lecture about the shield. I just wanted to get used to this new shield, the shield that relies on parrying more so than blocking. So that's why I decided to do this run. And of course, I had some help from the trinkets. This is basically like a trinkets only build, glorified, if you will. I've done trinket only runs before, and now this is just trinket only with a shield. But it was more about getting the parrying timing down. The first stage here goes horribly wrong. You'll see why. But then later on, I start parrying a ton, and especially in the Nevolus Brothers fight against Blue, I parry like a beast. But that's neither here nor there. This is an abomination. Uh, I really hope they change the shield in some way, shape, or form. Either revert it to the way it was, or maybe, I don't know. This weapon has like so much potential, and I just feel like it's overlooked by pretty much everyone for good reason, right? Unless you get like a god at parrying. Like I can get parries every now and then on some enemies more so than others, but it's in a rough place. I think it's probably the worst. I don't know if it's the worst weapon because I really hate the ninja stars, but I think it's the most forgotten about weapon. Like if you had like the percentages of what weapons everyone has picked up by how much, like oh every time you run into a shield, or the chances of people picking this up is like 0%, basically 1%. Yeah, so this is the full run. I don't have much commentary because half of it is just me standing in front of enemies waiting to parry, or using my trinkets when they come off of cooldown. So for that reason, I'm going to speed up the boss fights a little bit, just so you're not, just sitting there watching me, hold up a shield in front of a tri-bomber for 5 minutes or so. But yeah, that's about all I've got to say. I got some closing ending thoughts at the end of the video that I recorded in the run. I was drained emotionally, physically, spiritually. So if I sound a little bit dead inside at the end, that's why. But hey, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for checking it out. Try out the shield if you haven't. Don't just rely on my perspective. Maybe you like it. Maybe, it's like a rhythm game, basically, just being able to parry every enemy. So try it for yourself and let me know what you think down in the comments. Alrighty, that's going to be it from me. I'll see you all in the Vortex. All right, closing thoughts here. That was tough. That was tough. Let's see. So honestly, the new shield where like you take damage if you block, like I get they're trying to incentivize you need to parry, but man, it just feels bad. And this is on like the normal difficulty, and I kind of cheesed it with this. I mean, can't imagine doing this on cataclysmic, which I did try. I did try before I came here, and I'm like, you know what? This is gonna take me forever. Let me just see if I can do it on the clear skies before I ramp it up to cataclysmic. So yeah, I get the changes. I get the why behind the change, but I prefer the old shield. I like being able to block things, especially because if you probably noticed throughout the run that there's some attacks that are a lot harder to parry than others because they're like either projectile based or like they're like the fart, for example, and the by the mushroom guys, right, where they throw the goo everywhere, or in Rat Village where it's like the cheese dudes, where they don't like attack you with like a weapon, they just like throw goo on the ground and it's hard to parry. And that's why I just didn't bother trying to parry them because I don't like. Typically, I'm listening for the sound cue, like the little high pitch, like right before they attack, and some enemies like I don't know, it just doesn't line up or it's not there or I don't know, it's just missing for me. So it could be a skill issue. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's basically like a glorified trinket only run, which I've done. But I got some good parries in, especially against blue there. And this I had no idea how it worked. I've never picked this up before in my life. So I wanted to see if it applied to Elbro. Luckily it did. So kinda cheesed it. And I forgot I had Survivor. I'm not gonna lie. I was panicking there at the end. I'm like, oh, I can't die. Um, so yeah, that's about it. Rip old shield. I guess we're here with the new shield. I like the affixes though. Even if they're resisting freeze a lot of the time. But yeah, okay, that's gonna be it. Was this fun? No. Was it entertaining? Probably not. But you can be the judge down below in the comments. Yeah, never again. Well, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the vortex, and hopefully without a shield next time.